So if you're considering upgrading to the Gen 5 Glock, hopefully we can help you guys out today. What's up? My name is Heckshot, and thank you guys for joining us for our video on is the Gen 5 Glock worth the upgrade, no matter what Gen 5 you're looking at, whether it's 17, 19, or any of the future models. You can call it a comparison if you want to, but we're just going to hit on the changes that Glock has made, and if you're in a Gen 3, Gen 4, whatever, is it worth spending that extra money and get one of these? Thank you to Holster for sending one of their new Gen 5 Glock holsters out to us, and I got 2 of the loops there because I want to be carrying this, and I'm riding my motorcycle now again, so it's something a little bit more secure for me while I'm riding the bike. So again, thank you to those guys. Still running the discount on these. We've been doing that for a long time, so if you want to pick one up, make sure you use that link in the description and save yourself some money. So what did Glock do with their new Gen 5? Let's go over that real quick, and then we'll talk about is it worth it. All right, starting with one of the biggest things, they removed the finger grooves from your previous generations. That was one of the big things that a lot of people did not like. They would take these frames, they'd shave them down, do some modifications, and get rid of that. So that is a huge upgrade right there, all on its own. On the other side of the gun, for left-handed shooters, you now have your slide stop over here. Magazine release is still reversible. All right, so if that's something that bugged you or kept you away from the Glock platform, you no longer have that to worry about. Take out the magazine here real quick. This has no implication on whether you should upgrade or not, but they did flare the magazine well. So let's flip over the Gen 4. And you can tell right there how much the mag well is now flared out. So that's going to make your reloads a little bit easier. So if that's something that's important to you, that may be another consideration as well. They also improved the finish, and that's a huge upgrade as well from the previous versions, which I am not very fond of at all. This finish scratches very easily, discoloration in some cases. So that was a good thing to see. And they also, you know, sticking with the slide here, they also beveled this front end, so it makes holstering a little bit easier, getting that in and out right there. It's not as blocky as the Gen 4 versions. Other than that, they did some changes to the striker block, but those don't really have big implications. Triggers are pretty much the same. You have a little bit of creep in the trigger once you hit the wall, and it breaks, and it's a decent trigger, like most of the Glocks are. They're not the best trigger, but they're decent, no doubt. You're also going to have a little bit more weight and a little bit wider of a gun compared to the Gen 4. It's not a big difference. We talked about this again in our review, but it may be enough for some people. Now, I've been carrying like this in my holster. I never enjoyed carrying this gun, although I'd never had a holster for it either. This is the MOS version, and you can see I don't have my cover plate on there or anything like that. So I didn't carry this gun a whole lot. I tried it in a couple different options. Really not the most comfortable gun to be carrying every day. I have started carrying this one, like I said, in the holster, and I haven't had a problem with it at all. It's actually been pretty comfortable, keeps it securely in place, so I do like that. But carrying the guns is going to be pretty similar, besides those little changes that we talked about. Shooting the guns is very similar. Now, not to say that the Gen 5 Glock is a bad gun, because it's not. It's actually a really good gun, but when you have a new generation, a lot of manufacturers will change things that people really want. And this gun is lacking that. Now, let's talk about that a little bit. What would the new Gen 5 Glock need for me to say or justify upgrading from a Gen 4 or Gen 3? First, front slide serrations. This gun, some of the 4.5 models, if you will, had front slide serrations. I think the M version had front slide serrations. That's something that most guns are coming with now, or at least some version of that. I think that would have added a lot of value. A lot of people use those. For me, I don't use them a whole lot aesthetically. I think it looks good. It adds something different to the gun, but it also can work for functionality, which is the most important thing on a gun. And I realize that. For me, it's mainly aesthetics, but I think that would have been a huge upgrade. Obviously, they know people wanted that because they added them in the models between the 4 and the 5. Also, the sights, probably the biggest one for me. We still have these drop in the bucket type of sights, Nobody likes them. Almost everybody that owns a Glock changes these things, and we still have them. Now, one thing they did, they added a couple different versions. One has night sights, their own version of night sights, and another option, basically they're Ameriglows. But why these things don't even just come with a standard set of 3-dot sights is beyond me. Those two things combined, I think, would have made more sense to upgrade. Along with the finger grooves, I would have been set. This gun would be on par with what I personally like, and with what I think a lot of Glock owners would like. Now, one thing I don't like is this little cutout right here. I think it's over exaggerated, and your pinky doesn't really get pinched, but it just feels weird whenever you're shooting. So I don't really like that at all. Also, maybe some different frame color options, an all desert option. Now, I know whenever you release a new gun, most companies don't release their FDE and their olive drab versions right off the bat, but companies like Smith & Wesson do. They already have those options out there because people want those. Later down the line, I'm sure we'll get them. They are out there for the Gen 4 and Gen 3 models. Just something that I thought that would have really set this gun apart. Grip angle, all of that, I'm not the biggest fan of that, but that's, you know, this gun shoots fine, and I don't think that's a big issue at all. But all of those things combined that we just talked about, sights, slide serrations, color options possibly, and the lack of finger grooves, a more aggressive grip texturing even, those to me would have made the perfect Glock. I just think they missed the mark on that. So like I said, if you want to drop the extra money, if you're a huge Glock fan, more power to you, man. I mean, I don't have a problem with that at all. I personally don't think that there's enough value here to make that upgrade right off the bat, and spending more money while you're doing it. That's just my opinion. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If I missed anything, or if you want to add anything, maybe I'm completely off my rocker here, let me know down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.